Are you recording or you live?
I'm recording now.
Okay.
Good evening. I mean, good afternoon, good morning, whatever time it is. I'm kind of weird and strange, but I'm glad to see y'all, and we're on the Against All Odds show, and the Don't Give Our podcast. My guest there is Reverend Angela Pat, and she is visually impaired. And we're going to discuss the misconceptions that people have about people who are blind or visually impaired. So listen up, tune your ears, and learn something new. So Miss Pratt, were you blind from birth, or did you come blind?
Well, good afternoon. I guess we're moving into 12th hour in the eastern side of the world, and I just want to say that I am happy to be here. I'm happy to have this opportunity to have this conversation with you, and to also to be able to engage your audience. To answer your question, no, I was not born blind. I became blind at age 35. And it was due to a short illness. I lost my eyesight over a period of 4 months. I am totally blind.
Okay, well, what are the what are some of the challenges that you face when you became blind?
I don't even think you have enough time on this podcast to say all of the challenges
Just
that I was
give me some more then. Give me some more.
blind. But let me tell you, I guess the first thing is overcoming my own prejudice about disabilities and my blindness. When I lost my eyesight, as most people would think, that your world was over. I had a very promising career. I had my family, and I was the primary provider for my family. I was working as an assistant vice president for a company, and I had several different staff members. And so when this came about, I felt as if I had lost everything. And I didn't think that from that point when I lost my eyesight, that I would be able to recover and to have a productive life. As I said, it was my misconceptions. Some of the things that I was faced with is the first thing was that I was saddened that I wasn't able to drive any longer. I love to drive. I love to get in the car and just get away. And that I was not able to do. So I had to overcome the obstacles of feeling as if I had lost all of my mobility, lost my ability to be independent, lost my ability to have my secret set. I'll say it's not secret, but sacred space in order to be quiet and to, regather myself. Because everywhere I went, when I first lost my eyesight, there was somebody with me. There was somebody that was either driving, there was somebody that was even walking with me, there was somebody that was even home with me. So I didn't have that personal time that I was used to. So I had to overcome that. Then I had to overcome, ironically, is that before I lost my eyesight, I had just answered the call to the ministry. And so after I lost my eyesight, the questioning that I had for God was, why now? Why is this happening now? Did not happen before I said yes? I thought that the world would be easier on this side of ministry. So I had to overcome all that, which I can tell you that it is a victory that I cherish, because what it did was it brought me closer to who I am. Sometimes we think we know who we are, but we really don't until we have the opportunity to sit down and really, really reflect. It also gave me the opportunity to truly know who God was in my life and around me. God showed up in so many ways that I just was amazed at how God showed up. So those are some of the obstacles that I had to come over personally. Um, has it been an easy journey? It has not, but it's been rewarding because it's almost like every day I get up, I part of my devotion is, God, what are we going to tackle today? And it's almost like a child in the candy store. You just want to go around and see all the different candies, the different little treats that you have. And that's the journey that I'm on now with God. It's like I'm going through and I am just amazed at all of the things that I could do, not sighted. I tell everybody that one of the things that I use as an analogy is that if you have lunch, lunch is in your bag, and your bag is all crumbled up and it may have grease spots on it or whatever, it doesn't change the taste of the sandwich. And what that means as an analogy is this, is that no matter what obstacles we may be facing, no difficulties, maybe the loss of your eyesight, it doesn't change who God created you to be, that inner self. That's untouched. And when I finally got that, the world opened up for me. Now I am on a journey now to make sure that as my world opens up, that those that are around me, those that God has placed in my path, that I am that voice that speaks to the fact that everything is well, and that eyesight is overrated in a lot of cases. And that's how, with the whole concept of misconceptions, I challenge when I hear things, I challenge people to think a little bit deeper about a person who is blind or visually impaired.
And I can say this: you are one of the few people who actually saw the nice side of me at work.
Hmm.
Because I admit when I'm at work in the world, I don't show the nice Travis. I show the mean, rough and tough Travis. But you were able to see that nice, gentle Travis in me.
I was like, whatever.
I come back around and come by the first name and you would just say, "Oh, you don't mean that." Yeah, and that's what I think people don't only see with their eyes;
Hmm.
they see with their heart, they see with their mind. There are many ways we can see.
Yeah. And also with our ears.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can definitely see. And you know what? And once you are in touch with who you are, it's easier to see somebody far past their outward appearance, their outward presentation, how they present themselves, and you'll be able to see their heart. So you see where there may be some places where they're still harmed and hurt, or you'll be able to see where a person is not speaking from a genuine place, and you see those that actually walk in their authenticity. So yes, I agree. You see way beyond the limits of having the sight of the eye.
because a lot of us can see with our eyes, but we can't see with our spirit. We can't see who a person really is
Hmm.
because we all show representatives because we all show because we all have, because we all have a mask sometimes.
Hmm.
We have a mask sometimes, and sometimes that mask is not it's not who we are.
Exactly. Exactly. And when you, the observer, is in touch with your own authentic self, you understand that. A Buddhist person would say all the time is that namaskar, is that I can respect the spirit in you. And that's what I have learned, that this journey of my blindness is that I'm able to see past the mask. I'm able to see past what the shield or the borders or the blocks that people put up just for their own protection. trying to protect themselves and not realizing what they're doing is imprisoning themselves. And so one of the obstacles is learning how to discern that and to be open yourself so that you can, you can have more engaging relationships with people. One thing I believe, and I say I believe because I don't want to say that everybody believes this, but what I believe is that part of your engaging with people is how God reveals God's self to you as well.
Yes, and in my lifetime, what I say is, do we see the glasses half empty or as half full? It's
Mm-hmm.
all in our perception of how we see things.
Mm-hmm.
And I say this too: our stumbling blocks can be stepping stones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because your blindness could have been a stumbling block to you, but
Exactly.
but through the power that God put in you, you saw the stepping stone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's a way that God is using to open the eyes of others. One of the things I believe is that God is love and love is for everyone. And as we go along our journey, we're teaching each other. There are different lessons that some would learn, but we are teaching each other as we engage in human beings day to day. And when I show up in some of the rooms, it amazes me. Like one of the obstacles is that people think that if because I'm blind that I'm deaf as well. And so they start to talk all loud. I'm like, wait a minute, why are you talking loud? You're screaming. I don't know. Yeah, you don't know. And so that's part of my journey is to start to talk about some of these things so that we can become a beloved community, as Martin Luther King would say, beloved community where everybody's accepted for their worth and that is not dependent on my opinion of them, but it's what they present and what they show.
Yeah, because sometimes our preconceived ideas can keep us can keep us they can actually blind us. And and if we walk into a situation wanting to learn something from somebody, open to learn, open to new ideas,
Mm-hmm.
we would see that it's not how we think it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. One of the things I do is I love the fact that I'm, I'm with everybody else as far as this pandemic, but I love the opportunities that it presents. It presents the opportunity because so many things are virtual now that people are able to see the abilities of people with blindness. Before it was difficult for people who are blind or visually impaired to find employment. And now that argument about they're incapable of doing certain things is really gone because they have entered into the world of technology, and that's the world that we're in. When we're using our software and we're able to read faster than a person that is sighted, that is a ability that we can now market. So an employer who would previously not hire somebody visually impaired, I have heard of doors now opening up unbelievably, where they're calling and they're looking at hiring large group of people just for the call center, for administrative work and things of that sort, because the pandemic has opened it up and saying it is something that we can do. It's profitable. And for the first time, they're seeing that there's a large community and of people that they have not tapped into. And so, one of the obstacles that people with blindness or vision that are visually impaired have to overcome is the limitation that the employers have put on us. And now, with the pandemic and everybody having to be at home to do their job, And they see now, like, wow, all this time, we could have been hiring large numbers of people who are blind, because it is possible. So that's another one of the obstacles that were, misconception. Even the term disability in itself says that
Yes.
that it's broken down, and it's like I wish that I could just come up with a word that will fully define and re-identify a person that's challenged with a disability. So not being called disabled, that says that you're unable to work, and that is farthest from the truth. And I think that during this pandemic, people are seeing that more and more.
Yeah, because in my center, because while I worked at, we did experiments to actually know what people actually know what the people actually know what people that was went through. So I had the experience of riding Marshall blindfolded with a cane. And I'm telling you something, it was strange. It was my first time. I stumbled. I fell. I stumbled and fell. But I learned from that experience.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I was able to navigate. Just in one day.
Right.
Just in one day of not having my sight. I learned I learned that I had other senses like hearing, feeling, smelling, touching. I learned that. I learned that, and that was a great lesson for me.
Yeah. The whole practice of putting yourself in someone else's shoes to get a better perspective of what their experience is, without allowing your prejudice or your misconceptions to continue to guide you. And that's a place where I found it's challenging a lot of times for people. They want to stay in their old perception of something and not take an opportunity to open themselves up and say, hey, it could be different. And when you did that experiment, it opened it up for you. You know, yes, it's a blessing to have my eyes and eyesight and all of that. But if I did not, God is still present, and we can still continue on, and you can navigate even without it. So I'm glad you
And
had. I wish more people could do that.
and and I also taught Jaws. In want to say was it NDV or I also taught voice over with the Mac.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what I do is I close my eyes and I just type. And the first time I did it, I typed. I was trying to type something. I was trying to type "I love you" and I typed something different.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to put myself in that experience, and
Mm-hmm.
I had to put myself in that environment to actually understand what people I was teaching going through.
Right.
And that what I'm saying, that was a great experience for me too.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to say because now I haven't done Jaws in about a year or so. So I forgot. So I forgot some commands,
Mm-hmm.
but
I know you're missing Jaws. I mean, come on now. You don't want
yeah,
that voice talking.
y'all missing Jaws.
Just for your listeners, viewers, I just want to clarify that JAWS and NVD and some other different ones are screen readers. And what they do for the blind community is that they allow us to, in the Windows environment and in the Mac environment, to actually be able to read documents just as you do. It opens up the world of technology. So when Travis talking about JAWS, and I'm thinking he's had it in a whole year, the voice constantly reads to you and it tells you everything that's on the screen. And so after a while, it's like, okay, I need to change this voice. Give me a in the house, but yeah, that technology is powerful in itself. It's powerful.
I just got an iPhone
Mm-hmm.
about when I say 2 weeks ago because my wife said, Travis, you got an Android phone? I said, yeah. So it changed phone companies, and she had when I said she had iPhone S6. She said, Travis, I want you. I said, well, I like my Android. She said, come on, Travis.
I'm a girl, right?
Yeah. And I want to say so. I want to say, and I only use the iPhone for voice or something like that. So I had to learn how to navigate the systems and the prompts, the iPhone,
Mm-hmm.
but I think iPhone and the voice over and the Mac with the voice over.
Let me tell you, when I
That's
lost, that was the best thing, or best information somebody gave me, is to make sure I get an iPhone, because that would change my world. And truly, it has. It has changed my world. It has opened me up to things I used to love to do so much. And so I do. And now, if I when I come in contact with it, because I do, I have a life coach company called New Perspective, and so I talk to people who are recently without their eyesight. And so the first thing we do is talk about how do you connect, how do you communicate outside of where you are right now, and we go through which one is better. Now, I'm not going to talk about the other one, but I am going to say still for the Black community, iPhone still wins out. And so I always try to encourage a person to get that. And I know a lot of times they're holding on to the eyesight that they still have in some cases, and I think that it's that place where you allow technology to help you and reserve the eyesight that you have for things that technology cannot replace. Like if you have some sight to go out and watch the trees, the flowers, your children, your grandkids, those things technology cannot replace. But where technology can replace, use it as a benefit to you to enhance your eyesight if you have a little, but if you don't have any, like myself, to enhance the quality of your life, because it will reconnect you with communication that is unbelievable if you take the time to learn it.
and also what people are also they don't realize that they are different. That they don't people don't realize that their blindness is that blindness does not come in one package. Some people can see a little bit. Some can see figures. Some people can um they think that blind is blind, and that's not the case.
No, there's different variations of being visually impaired. From when you have to get glasses, already you're visually impaired, to not having any light perception, as myself. So it's the variations. We're all individuals, and we're all, you know, have different things that we need to help us to be independent and to fully be able to engage in community. And technology kind of bridges that gap.
Yeah, and sometimes my wife call me blind because say I say, Trey, go and get your glasses. I can't say, go and get your glasses. You can't see. You blind. I say, I'm not blind. Yeah,
Compliment. You just didn't realize that that was a
I know. I know. I know a compliment. I know. Yeah. Yeah. But so I can't find. She said, go and get your glasses. You need that. My glasses, I can find it, but with my glasses on, I can't see nothing.
Mm-hmm.
My glasses on. Like I said, there are different there are different degrees of blindness, or or or, or visually impaired. And when I said and I say that some people might be called blind, some people visually impaired. So so you should ask them what they you should ask them what so you should ask them what we call, right?
Yeah, I think everybody has a way of defining who they are. I personally am okay with either words, and I kind of use them back and forth. I don't find that saying that I am blind is a negative thing, but some people do. If they have some sight, they find it negative to say that they're blind. I think that it's just a global term. It's a all-around term to describe a variation of levels of sight. For me, I use blind, and I define myself as blind, but also use visually impaired because my vision is impaired. Um, it's just at a level where it may be different from someone else. But everybody has the right to define who they are. And if a person tells you that they rather you call them a person with a visual impairment, then call them what they want to be called. If a person says it's okay to call me a person who is dealing with blindness, then that's fine. I don't take offense to either one of the terms. What I take offense to is someone limiting me with their understanding of the term itself. Allow
Yes.
to define who I am.
Yes, and you also have a I, now about your life coach business. What do you do in that?
New perspective is giving somebody a new perspective on where they are in life. And what I do is to help, it's a transitional life coach practice. And what I do is help people to do what I had to do, and that was to redefine who I am with the special gift of disability, and go through that first process of depression, of the feeling of grief, loss, because it is something that you've lost. Um, Grief and loss doesn't always look like death, but what it looks like is that something or the way you were living your life has changed, and that places you in some cases in a place of depression, if not for a little while. And so I help people to get through that part on a spiritual level. A lot of agencies that help people with disabilities, of course, federal funding, they're not allowed to speak to the spirit man. Me as a ordained reverend, I can. I can talk to the fact that you may be angry in this moment with God, that you may have your faith have been questioned. And I've been there. So as a peer to them, I can say, you know what, this is just the moment, and we can move past it. Feel what you have to feel, and then realize that life goes on. And so that's what I do in the life coach. And then after we get to the next phase, we talk about what would you like to do now? You know, the world is yours. How do we get to it? What do we need in order to accomplish this? And I work with other agencies with referrals to help them to reach their goals.
And I'm glad to say that your that Innovis Ministry is one of my sponsors of this podcast. So you're actually talking with one of the sponsors of this podcast, and and I'm so grateful to you for your sponsorship of this podcast because it's our goal to bring the message that not to give up on
Yes.
anything that you face in life. So what about So what about Innovative Ministries?
Intervision Ministry is my prayer co-op. It is a space for people. Originally, it started in 2015 as a prayer group, and it still is. That's our foundation. We meet every morning, Monday through Friday at 6:30 a.m. And we, as a family, we pray together. It was specifically created for the blind community because I know that there are so many people who don't have transportation to get out to a gathering space, whether it's a worship space, a synagogue, or wherever you worship, don't have access to getting there. And so, for some of the rural counties and things like that in Georgia, I wanted to provide an opportunity for people to connect, because it's strength in numbers when you are able to connect with people on like mind. You gain strength for your journey, and so the blind community started, and we have branched out to not just only Georgia. There's people on our prayer line from Mississippi, Alabama, California, North Carolina, South Carolina. Of course, Georgia is our hub, and we have people from Florida, all over. It's open to anyone who would like to be a part of a community of believers that want to be a family and understands that prayer changes things. Intervision Ministries, as I said, started as a prayer group. We have also expanded to a women's group, which is called Esther's Sacred Place, ESP for short. We meet on the fourth Saturday of every month. It is via Zoom. It's a fun space. It's a social group that brings the prayer line. We have an opportunity for the women to come and to showcase their successes. A lot of times women tend to take care of all the responsibilities in the household, but they don't stop for a moment and say, you know what? I am something special. I did something. I want to pat myself on the back. If nobody else don't celebrate me, I want to celebrate me. And so we offer that space. Just as a shameless plug, on this Saturday, the 25th,
Go ahead.
we are actually having a game night. It's a family game night, so everybody's coming. Even we've opened it up to the men of our prayer group. And so we are going to play a lot of games. We're going to play scavenger hunt in a virtual type of way. We're going to play taboo, and again, modified for the virtual world. And we're going to play name that tune. So I'm excited. We're going to give out some prizes as well. I'm looking forward to it. And as I stated, that we started in 2015, and it was mainly for the blind community, but it has opened up to anyone who believes that God has gifted all of us and that nothing can change that gift or God's love for us. So we have sighted people, we have blind people, we have people with other disabilities that are part of the ministry, and it has blossomed and grown. We are actually currently in a outreach process where we are donating to Haiti. And so as a ministry, we realize that part of our responsibility is to also offer and to give to others. So for this Thanksgiving season, we have chosen to give to Haiti. So we're doing that. For Christmas, we are giving back to the blind community. And so we are asking for referrals of families who may be in need for the holiday season. The holiday is not always joyous for everyone. Some people are dealing with the pandemic and loss of employment. Some people have lost housing. And so we are asking for referrals for people who have family members and that have disabilities, specifically blindness, but we're not limiting ourselves. And so we're giving during the Christmas holiday to those families. So that's one of the other things we do. One last year, we were graciously given a grant to be able to provide hygiene items to people that are in need. Because what I found is that when we go through a pandemic or a natural disaster, people gather together. That's a blessing, and that's a wonderful thing. And were a lot of places where people can get food and they can get clothing, but nobody was talking about the things that are needed, like deodorant, cleaning the supplies when you're at home, and things like your toothbrush and stuff. Nobody was talking about those things, and so we actually applied for a grant and was honored with that. And so we were able to help over 35 families so far, and it came through a referral process where some organizations that I contacted um, actually was able to send us names of people who were in need, and that we were able to provide hygiene items for them. And I just wanted to also say that I was totally blessed because the boxes weighed a lot, and I had already said that part of the money from the grant I would use to mail it to them if need be. But we got so many volunteers that actually
Mm.
said, "I will drive and deliver the boxes for you," and they
Oh,
did. And so the person who said that I have a need, it was no more than 24 hours. They got the box on their doorstep. So that was a blessing that only God could work out. Only God could work that out. And so I said all that to say that Inner Vision Ministry is a ministry led by God, founded in prayer, and has a group of people that understand that prayer changes things, and that part of our responsibility is to be the voice in the community and also to help our sisters and brothers, and that we are not limited to any one particular denomination, because I believe that God is bigger than a denomination and a belief system, that God is love and God goes through all of us. And so in our space, we're open to learning. I also offer a Bible study um, 6 months out of a year. It usually starts in January and ends in like June or somewhere along there because people take holidays. But the Bible study is a basic Bible study that teaches not the actual books of the Bible per se, even though we go over them. But what it does is um, teaches how to study scriptures for yourself. A lot of people are afraid to even open up the Bible in a lot of cases because they're not used to those thous that come with the King James version. But there's so many different versions you can get where you can get a better understanding. And so understanding the usage of the words in Holy Scripture and things like that, that's what I teach. Teach how to do the history research, how to do the word searches, how to do those type of things, so that when they go in and they're reading the individual books, they go in and they're reading John, they understand John and who John was talking to and why John was talking to them at that particular time. So I teach more of a structural Bible study, which have grown tremendously and has helped from their testimony, and their voices have helped them now to be better stewards and students and disciples of God. So all that to say, Intervision Ministry is a welcoming space for all of you. All it was, a welcoming space for you, and we welcome you to be a part of us. So
yeah, yeah. And just think, from 35 to where you are now. Just not this one. I'm thinking. I'm coming. From 35, going blind, to a life coach, to a minister, to have the ministry. That lets me know that things can turn out all right in our lives if we have faith and trust in God.
yes, things can come out better for sure when you're walking in faith with God, hand in hand. Yes, yes, yes. I could not have imagined the day I woke up in the hospital without having sight. I could not imagine that I would be where I am right now. Couldn't imagine it. You know, God is just that good. God is just that good. You know, and there are still some days, and I'm not gonna pretend like there are not days where I wake up and say, I wish. You know, because I do. I wish I can see all of my grandkids. I wish that I could just get in the car sometimes and take those long rides like I used to. So I do have those moments, but in those moments, you know, once I get past that second, I remind myself of how blessed I really am to just still be here, to still be here. And that's a blessing in itself. Every morning I wake up, as I said before, part of my devotion after I stop and say, God, thank you. And I'm grateful for being able to wake up this morning. My next one is God, what adventure are we going to be on today? And with that, God opens up the doors, almost like one of those automatic doors where you're standing where you're going to Walmart. You know, the Walmart is filled with everything.
Yeah.
And you walk right there, that door just automatically opens. God just automatically opens up doors. And that reminds me that if I would have stopped 35 when I got to 54, I wouldn't be able to say and to testify where I testify today.
Mm.
But you cannot give up. You cannot stop. You
Mm-mm.
cannot give in. You know, because every time you breathe, that's God's sign says, I love you and there's more that I have for you. So every breath you take is God's love. So when you realize that, you can't give up. You've got to continue to move forward and to see what the end's going to be. And if the end is bigger than what it is right now, tell me, it's going to blow my mind
Sure
completely.
enough.
Completely.
Sure enough. Sure enough. Sure enough. Because some days I'll be waking up and I say, I wish I didn't stutter. I wish I would. I wish I walked normal. But then it comes to me, said Travis, if you had not gone that experience, you would not be where you are today.
Mm,
Because from that I learned
exactly.
to trust God. I learned that God can bring me through anything that I face in my life. Here
Yes.
come hell or high water, a typhoon, a tornado, a dust storm. I learned that God is above all in my life.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes. See, when you get that, oh, don't make me get excited now. When you get that God has never left you nor forsake you, no matter what it may feel like, that God is still there, you can go through the dark places. You know what I mean? You can go through those places. Yea, do I walk through the shadow of death, I will what? Fear.
Fear no evil,
Yes.
for thou art with me.
Yes.
Woo!
There you go. There you go. When you get that God is with you, even when you become blind or when you become disabled in whatever way it shows up, because we all will go through something. Even with old age, your ears will dim, your eyes will dim, and your ears may get a little lower. We're all gonna have that experience. But when you realize that you're not journeying alone, that
Woo!
the spirit is within you, that you can tell
Ah,
that at any time. You can go through it with a smile saying, okay, it may not feel good right now, but I know that on the other side, I can dance about
sure enough, sure enough,
yes, yes.
sure enough. I say this: we're either in a storm,
Hmm.
going through a storm, or come out of a storm.
That's it.
We're in those three positions in life.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. And so, you know, people who may be experiencing some of this now and don't think that they can keep going on, I just want to remind you of something that T.D. Jakes said years ago, and I've heard him say it recently, but years ago, this was before I even lost my eyesight. I was going through a difficult time, and T.D. Jakes just took out a $100 bill. And he took that $100 bill out and he balled it up. He threw it on the floor. He stepped all over. He rolled it over in the dust and the dirt and everything. And then he said, does anybody want this $100 bill? Because the thought behind it is this, is that the value that you have does not change. You may go through so many different things. You may be balled up, ruffled up, kicked around, all that kind of stuff. You know, somebody might talk about you. You might even talk that internal talking where you talk about yourself. But it doesn't change the value that God placed on you when God brought you here. Doesn't change your value. You are still valuable, even with the blessing, and I call it a blessing, to be challenged with the loss of your eyesight or whatever else, because God picked you for this journey. But your value has not changed. It's
Sure
we're
enough.
spiritual journey. We're on a spiritual journey, and we're just wearing these this human clothing, and we can change it at any time. So you are valuable, and you can't stop right now. You got to continue to push on and see
That's right.
what's going to be. Yeah. And every time you take that first breath in the morning, they take it as a breath of gratitude because God's signaling to say, I got more for you.
Mm. Well, thank you, Miss Reverend Pratt, because you have blessed me today so much with your words. You know, all I say is thank you. Thank you.
And that's enough. But we're in this together. It is part of our responsibility to go back and to remind others that may have slightly forgotten that they can't stop right now. You can't give up, and you have to keep on moving. So, as you say thank you to me, I say thank you to you for this opportunity for me to share with the listeners that listen to you, for me to be able to share God's love and knowing that God is love and love is for everyone. And once you get that, that God never leaves you nor forsakes you, and that God loves you just the way that you are, you can continue to go forward.
Yes, you can. And now it's time for my sponsor. The first sponsor is the mission statement of Innovation is support to encourage participation of people who are blind and visually impaired into a spiritual community where each individual is encouraged to utilize their God grant gifts and talents as they journey to a place of wholeness in mind, body, and spirit. And the email address is itheawakening@gmail.com. The phone number is 678-718-7063. My next sponsor is one second. Simtech. We provide titles for cars, tractors, houses, and motorcycles in any state. My next sponsor is this the last one, y'all. So y'all can just clap and say these are parts director Image Com Group search circle content local, and the website is www.imagecomgroup.com, and the phone number is, they got two phones, 678-687-9542 or 470-2 389152. And if you want to hear this broadcast again, you can go to www.podpage.com /don't DONT-GIV-UP-HOUR. Or you can go to the one-stop shop. It got everything on it. It got the podcast, it got the podcast videos, it got Against the Odds, it got blogs on it. You can go to the website. It's www.don'tgiveupthemovement.net. So again, I was talking to Reverend Angela Pratt on top of Can You See Me? And now you know that blindness is not a death sentence. Having a stroke is not a death sentence. Your life is not a death sentence. Everything that happens in life is meant to make you stronger. Do you have any last words to the audience?
No, I just want to say thank you. Thank you again for this opportunity. And as Intervision Ministry is one of the sponsors, please, if you are in need of a community to journey with you, reach out to us. As my old pastor says, and we will do thee good. So thank you again, Travis.
Thank you again. And have a great day. And don't give up on your dreams, hopes, and visions. Keep striving, push. That means praise until something happens. Have a great day. Have a great day. Have a great day. And don't